Hi, this is Karen Deis, and I'm with Apartment Toolkit, and I am on the conference call with a good friend of mine, longtime friend, loan officer that I worked with for many, many years, Bruce Wirick from South Bend, Indiana. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Karen.
Hey, thanks for being on the call. I know that you had started implementing marketing to apartment complexes, what, about 60 days ago?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's probably been somewhere around 60 to 75 days ago.
Okay. And you've started marketing to apartment complexes. I want to just kind of ask you a few questions for all of the listeners out there. First of all, why did you think marketing to apartment complexes was going to be a great niche for you?
Well, there are, I guess, a couple reasons why we wanted to implement this. One was to obviously get some additional buyers, leads that we could, kind of cultivate and then refer to our realtor customers and try to help strengthen our relationships with those folks. The other reason why I decided to do it, quite frankly, is I remember when you were here in South Bend, it seemed like you had a lot of success with it, and I knew that this worked for you, and I didn't think that I needed to reinvent anything or recreate the wheel, so I decided to try this campaign as well.
How many apartment complexes did you decide to go with to begin with?
I think we have 11 complexes that we have lists for.
Okay. And how many units? Do you have an idea of how many those amounted to?
You know what, Karen, I'm not sure because I have an assistant that handles that,
Okay.
quite frankly, but I would estimate somewhere around maybe 7,500 to 10,000 apartments.
So, Bruce, I know you had mentioned that you have a marketing assistant who helps you with this because I know marketing to 11 apartment complexes and 7,500 units is quite a bit. So, what was the first thing that you and your assistant did determining which apartment complexes to market to?
Well, we just started with a simple postcard. We put it on a pretty good grade material. We went with a bright yellow color. It basically is a postcard that calls for an action, which is asking them to respond to a designated phone number that we have set up where they leave their name and address and phone number for a free report.
What was the cost, do you think, of setting up that first mailing?
The first mailing basically is just, your postage and all we did is essentially we've got a good quality copier and it's coming in across fine. It looks like it's printed.
So did you mail out to all 7,500?
No, we're doing it in waves.
What was your first wave?
We're just taking an apartment complex each week generally is what we're doing.
Oh, interesting. Okay. How many leads did you get and how many people did you mail to for the first week?
Well, if I recall, actually our first wave was to 3 apartment complexes in the Niles, Michigan market. Probably, I would say that was just a little under 1,000 potential buyers or apartment complexes. And out of that 1,000, we received 6 phone calls back. And I believe the mailing went out on a Friday, and we had 6 leads when we came in the door on Monday morning.
Oh, awesome. And about the 6 leads that you received, what were the makeup of those buyers?
Not real good quality buyers. A lot of them were pretty credit challenged, and I think out of the 6, 5 of them we're going to have to work with, and one of them actually was a buyer.
And the ones that you have to work with, what do you do with them?
Well, the ones that we have to work with, that we have to kind of counsel and get their credit in good repair, we set up a spreadsheet. I have all kinds of different spreadsheets and databases, but these particular folks I'm setting up on a spreadsheet, at least initially, and then I make little notes, obviously, on the spreadsheet as to kind of jog my memory as to where their credit is and what my callback schedule should be like with those folks. And then at that time, then I just go ahead and program their names and numbers into my phone and on my calendar on my BlackBerry for the first thing every morning. And if, let's say, I think it's going to take 3 months to get somebody's credit in a position to be financeable or near financeable, I will set them up for 3 months out on the BlackBerry and then just call them and inquire as to where they're at and if they have any other questions and if they've accomplished some of the things that we talked about.
So basically you're building up an annuity of buyers somewhere down the road. Even though you got one buyer out of 6, leads, some of these people, if you work with them over a longer period of time, are going to turn into buyers. Do you feel that way?
No, absolutely. We're in a pretty South Bend area isn't real robust right now. We have a lot of credit challenged customers, and And in order to get our conversion rates up, I mean, we've really got to work our customers and what I call incubate them.
So have you done a second mailing, a second wave?
Now we're on a second wave. We've gone through all 11 units. Now on to our second wave, and I think the first apartment complex we did is somewhere around the 1,000, 1,200 unit range, and we received 7 inquiries back.
That's cool. And
out of the 7, honestly, I didn't get a lead as far as somebody that was in a position to do something today. But again, they're all added to my database. We've started a dialogue. I do the follow-up with those customers. I've not turned that over to the assistant. That's just kind of the way I'm handling it, because that way I know it's done, and I don't have a big team. I like to have those kind of conversations with the customers.
You know, they've reached out to you looking for help, and that you're actually their big brother, so to speak, watching over them, saying, have you done this? Have you saved enough money? Have you done this with your credit? I think that's huge in turning these people into buyers. Real estate agents that you're working with, how are you planning on cross-marketing the referrals when they turn into buyers with real estate agents?
Well, I'm a believer of supporting those who support you. I work with very few agents in our marketplace. Most agents I work with are agents that have been in business a long time, very successful, capable of driving 25 to 30 units.
Perfect. How many agents do you work with?
Right now I work with 5 or 6 agents.
Okay.
You know, our average loan amount's about $80,000 here, and I think I'll fund 16, 17 million this year in purchase business.
Wow, Bruce, that's fantastic. I know people listening out there can't even fathom a house for $80,000.
Come move to South Bend. But,
no, but those are some pretty cool numbers, really.
But yeah, I think agents appreciate the support, especially in this environment. So basically, it's easy for me to rotate them amongst the agents I work with, and then you're always looking to build some reserve, I guess, a new book of business.
Well, one of the things I'd recommend that you might try, Bruce, and kind of split the cost is, and one of the things that were successful for me, we're taking a postcard, showing a picture of the recent listing on the postcard, and say you can own this home for, and then give a monthly payment amount. Of course, you have to do the APR and all of that kind of stuff. List the information of the house on the back of the card, and still use that separate number that you have set up marketing to apartment complexes. That's another way to get the leads.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. We may try that.
Especially if the house is located in that particular area, because they're living in that complex for a reason. It might be close to work, it might be close to family, and if there's a listing or something that comes up in that, let's say $700-800 monthly payment range, or they're making rent payments of $650, that might be something that might hit somebody's hot button. You know what happens. People look at the house, see themselves in the house, but they may not buy that house. They're going to go out and start looking at other houses as well. So it's just kind of more of a marketing visual. Are you planning on doing this then for the rest of the year?
I've made a commitment to it. I mean, been doing this a little while, and if you try something, you've got to have some stay power with it. And I know that I think after a period of time and a series of mailings, actually our responses might get better, and it looks like that may be the case with the second wave.
It kind of takes 3 or 4 times for people to even recognize that you're alive. And if they're in that apartment complex and they keep seeing postcards, getting information from you on a regular basis, that's when that momentum starts to build up. One other question, Bruce. Do you hold home buyer seminars?
Right now, no. Again, I've tried some of that in the past, have not had a lot of success with it. And again, some of that may be due to our marketing effort, or how we've promoted it.
Is anybody else holding them in your area?
No.
Okay. See, that might be your foot in the door, that if holding them on a regular basis, plus you have the apartment complexes to market to. That's where I got every month anywhere between 20 to 30 people, and it was strictly marketing to apartment complexes. I very rarely even put a note in the Homes magazine, to tell you the truth. It's kind of like under the radar, and nobody even knew I was doing it. Especially in this time and age, because people just, there's so much negative press about the home values, about credit scores, about how you can't get a loan through underwriting. And we all know that that's out there, but there's people still buying homes every day, and they need to know how they do it.
Okay.
All right?
Well, again, it's a good suggestion, and we may throw that out there a couple months and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you. Let me know. Any last words of advice?
We're in a tough market, and got to work smarter. And I don't know that you necessarily have to work harder, but certainly have to work smarter. And you really got to, convert every lead that you get. I mean, right now, I think, at least in our marketplace, it's about conversion. So whether it's today or 6 months from now, if you get a lead, you've got to make the most of it, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Perfect. I think you're on the right track. So Bruce, thank you so much for your time and sharing and being honest about how this system works for you.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Bruce.
All right. Thanks, Karen.